Okay, so we're starting Chapter 8. Chapter 8 is all about roots. We've been talking some all semester long about square roots. We also have cube roots, fourth roots, and so on. What we're going to be learning in this section is a lot of little topics. They all add up to something important. These all build toward solving equations with these things in there. We don't get that far in this class, but you definitely will in intermediate algebra and college algebra. Okay, so let's just start off simple. Find all square roots of. Notice we don't have this little symbol here. We're going to talk about that in a second. Just all square roots of. This simply says what number times itself gives you blank. So what number times itself gives you 100? Well, you'll probably quickly say, well, 10 times 10 is one of them. So 10 is a square root. It certainly is. But there is another one. It is 10 and negative 10. Because negative 10 times negative 10 is also 100. Okay? So if you're asked to find all square roots, you're looking for the positive one and the negative one. Okay, find all square roots of 900. So we're looking for what number times itself gives us 900. On your calculator, on both calculators, okay, your square root button is directly beside the 7. It's right here. You're going to have to hit second to get there, second square root, and then enter 900, and then you're going to hit enter, and it will tell you that it's 30. So the square root of 900 is 30. Now we just had to use this little symbol here. It only gives us the positive answer. We have to know enough to provide the negative answer. Okay, now dealing with square root of a fraction, this is a whole lot easier than you think it would be. You take the square root of the top and then you take the square root of the bottom. The square root of 25, well, that's 5 times 5. Okay, the square root of 196. Square root 196 is 14. So this is 15 over, maybe I can write it correctly, 5 over 14. And then the other one would be negative 5 over 14. Remember, with a fraction, it doesn't matter whether the negative's in the top, off to the side, or down the bottom. It's all the same. Okay. All right, so let's look at this symbol. I've already sort of implied that it is important, and it is. Let's talk a little bit about some vocabulary. This symbol itself is called a radical. The number underneath is called a radicand. Okay, and sometimes there is a number right here. This number is called the index. Okay, and this is the only time I can think of that it is an understood 2. If it's not written down, it's an understood 2. I know of understood zeros, understood ones. This is the only time I can think of where there's an understood 2. This index is only asking you, well, what number times itself, that would be 2 times, gives you this number. Whereas if it were 3, that's a cube root, that would be saying what number times itself 3 times. So the index just tells you how many times you're supposed to multiply these things together. Now, the other thing about a radicand is if you see this sign, they only want the positive answer. Okay, so if I'm asked for the square root of 81, then the answer is going to be 9. Not 9 and negative 9, simply 9. And it has everything to do with the fact that they have that symbol. Now, if they do want the negative root, they'll put a negative sign in front of it. So this is negative square root 196, so it's negative. Then you take the square root of 196, We figured that out right here. We said it was 14. So this is negative 14.